guitar people, welcome to Have Guitar Will Travel, presented by Vintage Guitar Magazine, with your host, me, James Patrick Regan, otherwise known as Jimmy from the Deadlies, and today I'm speaking with singer-songwriter Rome Ramirez, from Sublime, as well as his solo work. In our conversation, Rome talks about growing up in Fremont, California, and living now in Nashville, and he walks us through his early musical journey. Rome discusses enrolling in Musicians Institute, only to leave after a short while to do studio work in Orange County. Rome talks about a song he wrote for the Dirty Heads, Lay Me Down, and how that song changed his trajectory and eventually had him playing guitar and singing with the band Sublime. Rome discusses how he moved on from Sublime and decided to go solo, and he talks about writing songs for Enrique Iglesias and Selena Gomez. Rome tells us about his band and his solo album that is being produced by Dan Huff and will be out in early 2026. Rome talks gears, his guitars now, and with Sublime, and his home studio outside of Nashville. To find out more about Rome, you can go to his website, RomeRamirez.com. That's RomeRamirez.com. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and most of all, review this podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And please support Vintage Guitar Magazine and all the wonderful things they do for us guitar players, because they do so many wonderful things for us guitar players. Here's my buddy Rome. Hey there, Romy. How are you?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good. Nice to see you. Nice to speak with you.
Likewise, James.
And so you grew up in Fremont?
Yes, sir.
Right on. Were you playing music as a kid?
Oh, yeah. Very early on. Probably since the age of 12.
Okay. Yeah. I'm in Napa right now. Are you in LA?
Oh, beautiful. I live in Nashville, actually.
Do you really?
I just got home last night, like midnight.
Oh, my God. And why Nashville? I mean, it's Music City, but...
Yeah, I'm a songwriter, and it was just... I've always been coming out here, writing songs and stuff, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the like flora and fauna of the city, you know, and all the surrounding places.
Sure.
Yeah, my wife and I just fell in love with it in the community.
Yeah. And you live in Nashville proper, or Franklin, or...
Nashville proper, yeah. But I mean, we can throw like a football over to Franklin, you know. But yeah. Right on.
And so, were you playing music in high school and stuff while you were in Fremont?
Yeah, man. But pretty much like the earliest rock and roll memory I can like even think of was just like my dad waking me up at like 3 a.m. because Jimi Hendrix was on VH1 doing the like Monterey, live in Monterey, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I just started playing guitar at this point, and you know, my dad was just like, you got to watch this. And so from like then on, man, it was like a bug. And yeah, man, I actually started on electric guitar first. I didn't get my first acoustic until probably till the end of high school. But yeah, man, I was in and out of bands. And once I got into songwriting, I chilled out on wanting to be like Yngwie Malmsteen, you know, wanted to be more like, you know, Van Morrison or something.
Oh yeah, of course. And so were you in bands in high school? Were you playing in the band, or were you playing like, you know, like with local people and clubs and stuff?
Yeah, dude, like any and all iterations that you can think of.
Okay.
Like I'd start my own bands and they would fall apart because no one wanted to jam the way I wanted to jam. I was like, soon as dudes in band practice would start talking about like their college plans, I'd be like, what do you mean college, dude? I thought we were going to like, you know, do this for real. So like, you know, I was always starting bands, and, you know, I would respond to Craigslist ads for people who needed singers or even guitar players or bass players or whatever. I just wanted to be in a band. So yeah, we were playing clubs and YMCAs and coffee shops, and eventually I kind of figured out that, like, you know, if I just became a solo artist, I wouldn't really have to depend on a lot of people, and I could just show up to a place and just get going, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you just show up with an acoustic and do your thing, yeah?
Yeah, man. I show up with an acoustic, and you know, they have like those double guitar cases, so I'd put like an acoustic in one and electric in one.
Okay.
And I would just bring like a twin, and, you know, because there's some songs where I'd like to hit the reverb. Oh yeah, dude. But I used to live in my Chevy G20 like conversion van. Yeah, I used to live in that thing. So I would just, I mean, I had everything I needed in there, you know, amps, like a longboard, you know, all kinds of stuff in there. So yeah, man, I would just be able to pull up and my whole philosophy was just be able to play shows anywhere, even if it was a street corner.
I mean, there's not a lot of busking in Fremont though, but do you
No,
remember
but I made it happen.
Yeah. Do you remember the venues you played?
Like in Fremont? Not so much. Well, in Fremont, I used to play Suju's Coffee, which is now I think was purchased by the Starbucks.
Yeah, of course.
But it used to be really cool. They used to do hardcore shows there. They used to have like emo was really big when I was a kid. It wasn't really my thing. But they would do these acoustic nights and open mic nights too. Okay. So I used to play Suju's a lot. There was Bay Street Cafe, which I used to play regularly all the time. But I go to Berkeley a lot and then go play, a couple places on Telegraph, and then Cactus Club in San Jose, which ended up selling. And then, just, pretty much any place. There was like, local fairs and stuff that I'd go jam at and play in front of like 2 people.
Yeah.
Good times.
And so you made the move to LA, right?
Yeah, man. I eventually I got kind of locked in where I was, and I felt like I had done and probably met anybody who ever played an instrument, who was under the age of 40.
Yeah.
I jammed with them already. So I figured it was time to go down south, and a lot of my friends, and especially like my mom, she was really like supportive of that. They were like, dude, you got to go down there, like, you got what it takes, all that stuff. And I listened to them, that support really did help me. And
sure.
So I went down there almost foolishly, I was thinking I could just go down there and like make it in the music industry, but I went down there and I saved up some money to enroll at this school called Musicians Institute.
Sure.
And I was gonna, like, my whole plan was to go down there and be like and learn how to like be an audio engineer. I'd already learned like how to like self-record and stuff, but I thought I'd get like a Pro Tools certificate and then like get an internship at a studio, and then brick by brick, right, all the way up.
What year is this?
This was 2007, 2006. Yeah. We're right around there.
Okay, but hold on, let me interrupt you just for some.
Oh, yeah, please.
So I think Expression in Emeryville started in like 2004. Do you know about Expression?
Absolutely. Great school.
So why not go there?
Because I wanted to go to Hollywood, man.
Okay. All
right. I went on. I wasn't even supposed to go there. Like, I just went because one of my friends was going to go. His mom was going to pay for him to go to the school, and it was in Hollywood, and I'd never been to Hollywood before. Yeah. So he was like, "Hey, do you want to roll with me to this thing? I'm just going to drive down, and we're going to do a tour of the campus." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" So, I mean, at this point, I'd only been in like one professional studio. Like, I'd never seen an SSL console, So, like, I was just down for the ride, and man, after walking the campus and seeing the studio and like just seeing the Capitol Records building and the stars on the ground and the homes in the hills, I was like, maybe this is achievable. Like, I walked out of there more inspired to go to the school than he did, So, and he didn't even end up going. It was just me. I ended up going on my own and figuring it out. I took a big fat loan that they gave a homeless 17-year-old, and that was not a good idea. But it worked out. But man. So it was I really wanted to jump down into LA just because I was just so burnt out on the Bay,
Yeah. I gotcha. When you went to MI, were you taking, were you learning guitar as well, or it was just all about recording?
It was all about recording, but I only went there for about 3 weeks. Because shortly thereafter, I was introduced to a recording engineer in Orange County, and he was he owned a studio, and he like had worked with the band Sublime, and they were like my favorite band.
Yeah, of course.
So like there was like some serendipity going on, and he had heard my music, and he was just like willing to develop me and record me in his studio, and we did one demo together, and I came back to MI and I showed all my friends and my instructors, and they were like, dude, this is like pro, like this sounds really good, So like, I think I kind of took that maybe as a sign too that I'm in the right place. And so I just stopped going to that school and just started living at that studio and recording every single day. And eventually, like the engineer over there, his name was Louis Richards. He was just like, hey man, tell you what, if you want to like move into the studio, you could like sleep in one of these vocal booths and go between your van and the vocal booth. And if you help me run the studio every day, like we can do this every day, all day long, you know? And like, she's like, just help me get clients to kind of keep the bills up. But like, we could do you all day long.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hell yeah, this is like, cause he was working with my soon to be manager. But so I was like super stoked that like, you know, this is like, I'm in the right place at the right time. Felt serendipitous. There was a big old Sublime plaque on the wall every time you walked in. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And
had he been working with Sublime?
He helped out on their big debut record. Okay. He was the assistant engineer on that record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I went back to my school. This was probably like a month in to like, you know, go in there. And I was like, I talked to my counselor. I was like, you guys, you're going to love this. I think like I like found a producer who's gonna like develop me and like maybe get a record deal. So can I get my money back so I can go like live? And they were like, hell no. Yeah. So I basically just had to like give him that money and yeah. And
how'd your mom feel about that?
Well, I mean, she, bless her heart, man, she always just kind of trusts me. I don't come from the entertainment industry at all. Yeah. And my parents are very blue collar and, you know, they work with their hands. And so.
What do your parents do?
My dad, for the longest time, he worked for a newspaper plant. He was like a technician for the newspaper machines, but you know that all went to computers, so he got laid off, and he became a truck driver. Okay. And then my mom just kind of did various things as well. Yeah. Shortly after I, you know, started hanging around that studio, I wrote a song, and that went #1, and I got some money, and I was able to retire my mom. So that was like that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What was the song that you wrote?
Lay Me Down.
Oh, okay.
For a band called the Dirty Heads. Yeah, that was like that like changed my life. Yeah. Yeah, just when I was like, man, maybe I should think of a backup plan here. that song just took off.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. Had you been writing songs like when you were a kid and stuff?
Yeah, I started writing songs when I was about probably 14. Okay. That's when I really started like just start singing. I started singing at 14. Yeah. And, you know, trying to write. And then I like started like really writing songs like around 16, 17 years old.
Okay. All right.
And then after I got a publishing deal, I spent like so much time in LA, like, you know, just working with so many talented people. Yeah, yeah. And just, you know, learning so much. Sure. And that's when I like my brain turned, you know.
How did you get a publishing deal though? By working at that studio?
No, through Lay Me Down. Yeah. Oh, once you write a hit, they all come. Yeah. You know how that goes, you know. Trying to get someone to believe in something beforehand is very hard. Goes,
but yes.
Oh, well, you know, it's the music industry, especially now, is very like Shark Tank.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you have to have it pretty much all chiseled out. Yeah. And then you go to them and then, you know, they go, okay, we'll sprinkle this with cash and let it grow. But you got to build it, you know, and yeah. So I was very fortunate that song took off because then I got put in a place where, you know, people wanted to hear my stuff.
So you're living in the studio. For one thing, like every time I've been in a vocal booth, I've always thought, this would be a great place to sleep because it is fucking quiet.
Yeah, and cold. Yeah.
Was it a good place to sleep?
Oh yeah, man. I throw like 4 comforters down and like 2 pillows and again, like my van was just parked like right outside of the parking lot. Okay. So if it was too loud or whatever, like I would go in there. If it got too stuffy in my van, I would go down. The good thing is like the studio was only about a mile from the beach, so we got some good breeze going on and stuff.
What city?
It was in Costa Mesa.
Oh, Costa Mesa. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 17th Street Studios. That's what it's called. Right on. Yeah, it's still there. Louis still rocking. He's a good man.
Right on. So how do you make the transition to being in Sublime?
Being at that studio, the bass player would frequent very often, and I got to know Eric on just like a friend level, you know. Yep. He knew I was a super fan, but I never bugged him for a picture or nothing. Yeah. You know, I kept my cool, you know. Yeah. And, you know, he'd throw these rad parties and I would, I'd show up to the parties. He'd invite me to them and, you know, he'd always have music playing. Like his band was always playing. He used to be in a Stooges cover band. Okay. So yeah, there was always instruments going, and inevitably at some point in the night, somebody would be like, "Play Sublime song,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he knew that I was a fan, so he'd ask me to go up there and sing them, and
Right on.
I knew them all, so he could say any one of them, and I would be able to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we just did that for a while, and then word caught around eventually, and so like the producer who worked at that studio, like the guy who owned that building, he was also managing another band he was managing a band called the Dirty Heads.
Okay.
And that's how I like kind of connected with them.
Okay.
And yeah, he had just reunited Rage Against the Machine for a reunion.
Wow.
So Eric and him connected, bass player to Sublime, and Eric was thinking about maybe a reunion.
Yeah.
And because he'd been jamming with me,
yeah.
And our soon-to-be manager kind of figured it all out. His name is Cheese. He kind of figured it all out, and things took off pretty fast from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, before long, we were like playing, in front of like in amphitheaters and arenas.
Yeah. And so, how did you guys come? I'm sure they wanted to define it from the original Sublime, and so they made it Sublime with Romy. But was that did you have a hand in that?
Oh no, I was like, what was I, 17 or 18 at the time? I was like just writing songs on the beach, drinking, smoking, like but we had attorneys and stuff. I'm sure I had the emails, but it's like when you're just a kid, you're just kind of like, you guys figure that shit out, man. I write the songs. Yeah. Now, as a grown-ass man, I would be like, okay, I'll be on that call. I'll be on that, But, nah, they kind of figured it out, It's always just kind of like a numbers thing, So they were just kind of figuring out who's going to get what, when, and where. And I think once it all made sense, they started selling some tickets.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to your band now, so why did it separate?
Honestly, man, we kind of all got to the place, I feel like, where the next creative force needed to happen. For me, I just started writing these songs during the pandemic. That was the only time that Sublime with Rome had ever took the foot off the gas, for lack of better words, since our formation in 2009. Yeah. So, it'd been at that point like a solid 11 years of like boom, 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 boom. And, in all that time, I was like writing records for artists and stuff, So I had this time off where it was like, well, what would I write for myself? I don't know if it's ever going to come out. I don't know if I got to get a job at Best Buy tomorrow. We didn't know anything. It was such a time of uncertainty. Yeah. So I just started writing songs that I just loved in my head, that I heard in my head. Sure. And it was an amalgamation of everything that I grew up on, ironically. I feel like the older you get, the more you kind of circle back to what was playing in the house. And it was a lot of Motown and a lot of soul and blues and rock and roll. And so that's like, where I naturally sort of gravitated towards when it came to original composition. Yeah. So, eventually, like that, I couldn't really ignore that sort of wanting to put it out. Yeah. Because the world opened up, as we all know, and Sublime with Rome went right back to business, and we had 2 tours scheduled out. And I mean, it started to sort of feel like, like maybe I was just kind of doing this thing for not the best intentions, like because my heart was somewhere else. And I'd never been at that point with Sublime with Rome. And, there were some internal things going on that sort of inspired that. And I think it's just kind of got to a point where I'm like, I need to make the jump to the art that I believe in the most, Yeah.
And not to get too personal financially, but like when you write Lay Me Down for the Dirty Heads, or you work with Enrique Iglesias, which is a bigger check?
Well, it all depends, because some songs do different things. Like the song that's done the biggest for me is with none of them. It's with the kid who was in a song in a movie that went crazy. And then it was in a TikTok trend and went crazy platinum because it was in like a million bajillion TikToks. Okay. But so like the thing with music is obviously the bigger the artist, the more fans they have, the more they listen, right? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that they're going to culturally last as long. Yeah. So, That's why I'm always telling songwriters and up and coming producers, like, write the best song.
Oh yeah.
Not the most today song or
Oh,
the most catchiest song, but just write the best song because the best shit lasts always. Like, a great, well-written song, in my opinion, it's timeless,
Oh yeah. You got to write for you. You can't rewrite it.
Yeah, can't be trying to write. I tried, and things went dry, and then as soon as I got back into my heart, things started working again.
Yeah. And so now you have your own band?
Yes, sir.
Like,
yeah, I have
guys?
I carried the drummer over from Sublime with Rome and my amazing horn player and keyboard player. And then I have a project with Duddy from the Dirty Heads. Okay. It's like an Americana Island project. And we have a pedal steel player in that. So I brought my pedal steel player, Jeremy Long, into the band. And then my bass player, Adam Ditt. And I mean, we're just like a family, man. I've been jamming with these guys for years. So, now it's just kind of like introducing new elements and tying in different communities. I jam with these guys over here and these guys over here. And now we're like jamming together.
All right on.
And it's been awesome.
Yeah. And so, excuse my ignorance, but do you have an album out already, or is it on its way?
Oh, we just put an EP out in September.
Okay.
And then we are recording the rest of the album in a couple weeks. Okay. And then that should be out in the first quarter of 2026.
Yeah. And with your with your studio background, are you are you the producer? Or do you
no, man. I'm actually been working with legendary Dan Huff.
Oh, no way.
Dude, yeah, he produced. He's pretty much like my guy. Like I write songs
and a fellow LA person just like yourself.
Yeah, but he's out here in Nashville crushing shit.
Yeah.
He's a monster producer. He's just got a killer ear, and he appreciates the the instrumentation and the guitar the way I do, and
a great guitar player too.
Fantastic, and his collection is crazy, man. I mean, some of the most freaking awesome guitars I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. I'm in a really awesome place. I usually self-produce.
Yeah.
But with this, I really wanted to kind of just focus on the writing.
Yeah.
And kind of give that sort of vision making. And I'm also right there with Dan, kind of going everything.
Yeah.
But he has such a wonderful ear and attention to detail. Yeah. And, he can just arrange a song like no one's business.
Yeah. Are you working, what studio are you working at?
For the EP, we recorded it at the Castle Studios in Franklin, Tennessee, a really legendary spot. And now that my studio's finished in Leaper's Fork, we're recording out there at LaGrange Studios.
Right on.
Yeah,
that's badass. So you mentioned Dan's guitar collection. How about your guitar collection? What's that look like?
Man, okay, so I'm not like a dude who's got like 100 guitars.
That's okay.
I got like my tried and true. One of my all-time favorite guitar is, so when I met Sublime, when I met Eric from Sublime, I didn't have an electric. I had like pawned everything. Like I was telling you, I was living in my van.
Yeah.
And all I kept, I had an electric and a bass and an acoustic, and I pawned the electric and I pawned the bass.
Oh, okay.
And all I had was my acoustic. So Eric had this really, really rad. It's a Mexican-made 1996 just Strats, like American player. Nothing crazy, but it was just broken in already. At this point, it had already been 13 years old, and it coming from him, man, it just meant so much to me. Still does. Sure. And that was like my baby. Like that was like my first electric. And honestly, like if you look up any picture of me online, like that was typically the guitar. Okay. I retired it at some point because I lost it in an airport in Philly, and I almost like shit myself. I was so scared, bro.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it back for like 2 months, and it was a whole thing. But so once I got it back, I was like, okay, you're staying in the studio.
Yeah.
But that and when news first started to kind of break that I was going to be playing with Sublime, there was this really killer acoustic guitar company that I always had my eyes on, and because I'm a big fan of Jack Johnson, and he exclusively used this company called Cole Clark.
Okay.
And I just love the way, like, like the the body of the guitars, they resonated just so deeply, matched his voice. And I felt like, I kind of had like a lower timbre voice similar to his. So I was like, that's my guitar. And Wild Shot in the Dark, I was like, send an email out. I did it myself. I was like, hey, it looks like I may be singing with Sublime. I'm not sure. Please don't tell anyone. But I really love your guitars, and if like you could send me one, I promise I'll like take a bunch of pictures with it and send it to you. And dude, they reached out back to me, and they were like, I swear to God, dude, they said pick any guitar you want.
Wow.
Any guitar. So naturally, I just went to like the most expensive acoustic that I could find, and they were like, cool. We sent you a Strat too, and dude, I was like, oh, dude, I opened that thing up, and so it's a Cole Clark. It's called a Fat Lady.
Okay,
I think it's a 3121C or something like that. It's a beautiful, beautiful guitar. Inlays all over the place. I've had that my whole life, and it's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'll tell you who's got the coolest guitar in the whole world is my wife, dude. Because my father-in-law collects, and he's got like one of the very first country and western, if not the very first country western Gibson acoustic guitars, like a 1959.
Right on.
It was it's basically like a flat top J45, but this one was made yellow so it would look good on TV. Shine a little brighter. Yeah. And it was gifted to my father-in-law's grandfather. And when he died, he basically died with like some wood tools and that guitar, and left it to him. And he gave it to my wife. And so we record with that very often. We got a really rad like Larry Carlton 335. That thing's dope. It's like a 62.
Yeah.
We got a couple 335s. We got this is all like in my studio, And so like I like, so when people come over, they can grab for anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got like a Rusty Anderson 330. Yeah. That thing is bad right there, man. Yeah, just sold for days on that. But yeah, we got some cool shit in there. Right. My manager's got like, Slash did his replica model with Gibson back in like, what is it, 2001, 2002, something like that?
Sure.
So you know how they make like the artist prototypes, right? The ones that they like send to like Slash to be like, what do you think, boss? Is it good for production?
Yeah.
My manager's got prototype 1, number 0001. Just straight from Slash, and he signed it. So yeah, we jam on that thing too. But yeah, I like to keep, a nice little steady roster of guitars just to kind of cover all grounds,
How about
Gibsons and Tellys. Oh man, we got some Divided by 13s. Big shout out to Fred.
Yeah.
That's like, I've been using Divided by 13s my whole entire professional career.
Oh, have you really? All right.
Oh yeah, man. Like just, we know Fred very, very well.
Okay.
He's a wonderful man. He just sold his company, which is awesome. I'm sure it's in great hands now.
Yeah.
But so we use a lot of Divided by 13s in the studio. We got some killer old vintage, Marshalls, some old Plexis, and man, I got actually the Marshall that I love the most. Like if you're looking for that sort of like, New York Dolls, sort of like, that bright killer crunch.
Yeah.
Fred from Divided by 13, he came across this JCM 800. It's like a 82 or 81. and Fred came across it and called up my manager and was like, dude, I'm sitting in front of one of the, if not the greatest JCM 800 that I've ever heard in my entire life. Wow. He's like, I got more than I know what to do with, and somebody painted it white. So that sucks. And my manager's like, I have a couple too. Let me call Rome. And they called, this was like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And they called me and I was like, dude, Fred, if you're saying it's fire, I'll buy it right now. I don't give a shit if it's hot pink. I'll put that in the studio. We'll use it. So yeah, man, we got a couple ones. And then, the trusted, Defender Champ. And
Sure. Yeah.
Couple really good twins, Blackface.
So once you get the album recorded, is your plan to go out and like tour?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I take off in a couple weeks for a big East Coast run.
Oh wow.
Got about 15 to 20 dates, and then we're chilling, and then going to Mexico at the end of the year.
Wow.
And then next year we're hitting it hard. We got some festivals, and we're putting together a killer summer package right now. And
Sure.
yeah.
So when you say you're going to Mexico, you're going to Mexico to play?
Yeah. We're playing a festival out there called
Okay.
Closer to the Sun.
Do you have any reservations about going to Mexico?
No, never. I go to Mexico like every year.
Okay.
I mean, I'm Mexican, so
No,
like,
I know
you
that.
they don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? I go
Yeah.
there and I'm like, "¿Qué pasó, primo?"
No, I know.
you
But just because we hear that. I have been to Mexico in a long time, but when I went to Mexico, it was like, we're going surfing and we're gonna go down the coast and just keep going. But now that you hear about all these stories, like the surfers that got killed and right out at Ensenada. Or
yeah. I mean that shit, that sucks. That incident super sucks. But I look at, because my job is to go to places, and oftentimes, depending on what's going on in the world, it just rotates like the hot spot of shit, right?
Yeah.
And the way I see it is like, it's kind of like going to Chicago or like going to Oakland. Like, there's some places where you probably wouldn't go. You wouldn't go by yourself at certain times. And then there's some places where, you're like, man, I'm free as hell right now. I could, so it's like that pretty much everywhere. And in Mexico, also from what I understand, the cartel makes a lot of its money also from the tourism.
Oh, really?
So they typically don't shit where they eat, but shit happens.
For what it's worth, I would go to Mexico before I went to Oakland.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
So you do all this stuff, you make all this music and stuff. What do you do for fun?
Hang out with my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
kids?
them to death. I have 3 kids.
Okay.
I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old,
on.
and a 4-year-old girl.
That's great age.
And they're all beautifully talented in their own right.
Yeah.
And man, this is a lot of, like, living a life of music is a tremendous amount of fun. Like,
Sure.
I love this shit. Like, this is like what I do every day. I just go back there, write songs, and hope the world likes them, and then go play them.
Yeah.
And I think when my kids get a little older, I'll probably like get back into like video games or some shit. I don't know, golfing or, I like to hunt, doing something like that. But right now I just want to spend any like waking minute, if I'm not doing like what I love to do, like I want to spend it with the people I love,
Yeah. Do you ever go down, do you ever like have the inclination to like go to, it's Nashville, so like even the McDonald's has people like, busking and stuff like that. Do you ever like go out and just bust for the hell of it?
I haven't, not out here in town. I probably should. That'd be a really cool video. So if I do it, I'll give you credit for it. But I mean, I do that shit like random ass places wherever we're at. I'll jump up on the stage, and just kind of play a couple songs, and it's awesome when no one knows where the hell you are. Because you could just kind of get the real honest
so out
truth.
of context for them.
Yeah, it's and for myself, it's humbling because people, they don't care.
Nope.
So it's that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Well, you have the voice and you have the song, so that gives you a big leg up over 99% of the people.
Thank you.
Well, it's been an honor to speak with you. I really appreciate your time, and it's it's great to meet somebody from the Bay.
Heck yeah. Oh, where are you from again? Napa?
I'm from Napa, yeah.
Oh, killer, man. Yeah, I love it up there, man. Beautiful place.
I grew up in, Concord and that area, but just, a short BART ride away from Fremont.
Oh, dude, of course, man. I don't know why anyone would want to BART to Fremont. We usually BART out, but hopefully it's getting better. Well, thanks for taking the time and talking, James.
Oh, yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it, brother.
My pleasure. Nice to speak with you. I hope I get an opportunity to meet you in person if you ever come out this way.
Yeah, I think we're planning to run over there, probably play like Sacramento or something like that. So we'll keep you in the loop.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Have Guitar Will Travel. You can catch up on all the things I'm doing at thedeadlies.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms as well. And please support Vintage Guitar and all the wonderful things they do, because they do many, many wonderful things for us guitar players. Thanks. Please subscribe. Please tell a friend, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.